Ah, yes.
Yeah, don't you get it? This isn't just about friendship, and I didn't mean he only likes you either. Believe me when I say it, Sono-G really... Uh-oh.
Oh, shit. The conversation came rushing back. It was a memory better left forgotten.
Inserting her into her own flashback. Look at that face.
Pushing Tobimaru's words out of her mind, Aoko turned to Soujuuro. This must be that tsundere thing I read about in a book.
I doubt he knows that yet.
I don't know, depending on who he... That redheaded kid that he hangs out with,
This is the 80s. I don't think that was even popular among otaku yet.
I don't know. Puzzled, Soujuuro tilted his head.
Well, yeah, you already told me you hate me.
He responded, matter-of-factly, to her sudden declaration. She certainly had pointed that out, and to his face no less. It had a mere figure of...
It had a mere figure of
speech. It had been a mere figure of speech that he was not meant to take literally, but now was not the time to belabor the point.
Yeah, I think that...
What?
Oh, wow, she just said that out loud, huh?
Yet belabor she did anyways. Aoko blushed slightly, realizing how inane she was being. She wondered how she'd ended up in this position. And yet she knew that she had to get this off her chest. All that was left was to politely wait for his response. I can't date you. Such heartbreakingly painful words were too much for the simple boy to hear. His shoulders slumped as if the world was coming to an end. Or so Aoko thought. Why did you never close that quotation?
Yeah, that confused me too.
On the contrary, Soujuuro was sitting there in deep thought. Close the quote!
Right. Hang on, wait a minute.
Wait, what did you just say? Soujuuro murmured the words as if they were like a magic spell. She shot right back with the affirmative. After a moment of deep contemplation, the boy turned to the expectant girl and said...
Ow! Oh!
I'm sorry, what? Why would you think that?
Yeah, well, nande.
Tobimaru said... Oh.
Wait, yeah.
He had to be joking. But he wasn't. He was completely serious. He liked her, but didn't like her.
Yeah. It's like, hang on, he did all that, and like...
Of course the vice president had jumped to conclusions. This boy had no interest in romance. He probably didn't even know what that was. They didn't have romance in the mountains.
Yeah.
They made it purely for practicality's sake.
Oh, wow, yeah, you can just see her bouncing up and down.
Oh, so now I've made an idiot of myself. I'm gonna kill Tobimaru for this.
You're right, yeah. He is
New
a
plan.
dead man.
Your stay of execution is permanent. Tobimaru gets it instead.
Right.
What? Why him? Don't worry about it.
He's going to school with an axe tomorrow.
She was incredibly embarrassed by how confused Soujuuro still appeared to be. Her rosy complexion spread throughout her entire body.
Oh god, why make it worse?
You still haven't answered me. Like, why would you think that?
Oh!
Yeah, I want to know why I thought that too.
Wow, that's a good punch play.
He just decks him in the face.
Oh man. Yeah, Tobimaru Obaka.
Just like that, she'd lost her cool and given in to an unjustifiable outburst. It was time to seal off the area and destroy all evidence. Aoko's embarrassment devolved into sheer panic, and her grudge against Tobimaru suddenly manifested as criminal assault. I said this many times before, but I love her tremendously.
Yeah.
She lashed out with a punch that could have taken down a bird mid-flight.
Wow.
More specifically, it was a brutal right hook that hit from 3 directions simultaneously.
Right. Tapping into like the second magic.
Right?
Oh, wait.
Aoko blinked. Her blow had connected with something solid, snapping her out of her reverie. Her temper had lashed out at the completely defenseless Soujuuro.
Yeah, he was like...
It had been a splendid blow
Not
with
good.
all her weight behind it, knocking him out cold.
Wow, they even put a little stuff on his face there.
You know, he's pretty cute when he's unconscious. Soujuuro groaned, crumpling to the ground. Her punch finished the job that the curse had started. He was dead. If not for the discomfort on his face, he appeared almost to be sleeping. Aoko convinced herself that he was napping, not concussed.
Yeah, okay. Was always going to end in violence.
The tension in her shoulders eased away as she looked down at Soujuuro. A ton had gotten in her way over the course of today, but the day was saved. For now.
Yeah.
Thanks to the Powerpuff Girls. With nobody left to butt heads, she felt exhaustion finally overtake her. Alice is still here, you know.
I mean, somewhere.
She didn't leave. She has more ploys.
One more that she can't use because they're not by a river.
Well, she had 2 more.
She has 3, I think.
Right, and she only one of them is dead.
Yeah, but one of them can only be used near a river, they said. The troll. And she used her other 2, so I think she's down to just her normal familiars.
Take the bus?
Well,
Her fatigue was enough to make her complain out loud. When she thought about it, she realized that this was the first time she'd used up all her magical energy, and the first time she'd participated in a battle of this scale without any prior preparation.
I'm pretty sure you've never been in a battle of this scale, period. It was kind of nuts.
Though in truth... She felt somewhat proud as she whispered those words. Normally it was something that she'd beat herself up over, but instead, she simply shrugged her shoulders with a bitter smile. After all, it was thanks to the person sleeping by her side.
Sleeping. He's just napping.
Heavy air quotes on sleeping.
Yeah.
If you can hear me, you have to tell me.
Right, that's the law.
As if the night had swallowed her voice before it reached him, she received no response. If I find out later that you could hear me, I am going to kill you. Confident, she continued in an even quieter voice. Of course, there was no response from Soujuuro, and she wasn't expecting one. Saying it for the record was enough. God will know I thanked him.
Yeah, there we go.
Aoko watched Soujuuro sleep for a while and then pulled something out of her pocket. It was the palm-sized glass bottle her roommate had given her, which she opened with a pop. Leaving behind words colder than a winter chill at night, she called out his name. She barely sensed the bottle moving. As the silhouette of the fallen boy appeared to blur, she got the feeling that the weight of the bottle had increased slightly.
Oh yeah, she got the curse out of him or something?
What appeared to be a human form could clearly be seen inside the glass. Alice Kuonji's tools were mystics that confounded even the most knowledgeable of mages. As soon as Aoko tried to analyze them with logic or reason, she was already out of her depth. Knowing this all too well, Aoko closed the bottle and watched the boy disappear as if by some magic trick.
Oh. What?
まったくこんなの手品じゃなくて
Oh, she could trap him in the bottle?
Oh, well that'll make it easier for her to get him home,
Yeah.
she muttered as she looked into the magical bottle. Its weight hadn't changed significantly, and she had no idea how it worked, but the one thing she did know was that there was a human being inside of it.
Huh.
Its light weight was almost unnerving, closer to empty air than a human being. It was about as heavy as one would expect if they'd bottled a summer breeze, though that did fit her image of Soujuuro perfectly.
アリスの言う通り
She muttered to no one in particular as she recalled the past.
ほんと私らしくない
Aoko wore a bittersweet smile. Her usual moodiness was gone. It was a dangerous world out there. It was good to have someone to keep her on her toes. With a wry chuckle, she flicked the magical bottle with her finger and set off walking.
Pretty sure those lights should be dulled by now, but... Gonna get a shot of it powering down?
She could hear a bell in the distance, signaling the end of the play. An ephemeral dream gave way to reality. In the grand scheme of things, it had been but an instant. As the actors exited stage left, the last of the lights silently flickered out. And so, the long-dead amusement park played its final role as a memory for a boy and a girl. And another girl.
Who was around.
And a puppet.
No, the puppet's gone, so probably.
Well, that's why it was the final memory for the puppet.
Farewell, Kissyland. Like a dog.
Like a dog.
Oh boy. Oh, nope, Night of the Witches.
Okay, cool.
Wow. Man. Yeah, those are pretty long.
That would have been an awkward place for, like, an
Interlude.
interlude chapter, yes.
Yeah. Oh boy. We'll just save it the chapter break, I guess.
As you do.
All right. Chapter 6, Like a Dog.
He was still in a deep sleep.
I think he needs a neurologist at that point.
No, he's just sleeping. He's not concussed. It all seemed to blaze in a mad, fiery red. Unbearable idle thoughts. Incessant obstinacy. Melancholy sights and gloomy, bittersweet talk. Fickle wickedness born of human interaction. Namely, the voice of a forsaken coexistence. This, however, was the scenery of a world far removed from that. If there were those praying this was paradise, then there were likely also those lamenting it as the underworld. In a decade, or perhaps longer, this would all change, but for now, the autumn leaves remained yet untrampled by human souls. It was a scenery he knew well. Life in the mountains was humble and modest, and there were no conspicuous buildings among the wilderness he called home. They gathered and stockpiled only what they needed to survive, without pillaging the land. Serpentine trails could be seen woven through the fields, and the stone steps leading to the summit were obscured by the forest, only visible once upon them. The mountain inhabitants probably intended it that way. There was no sign of mankind's exploitation among the mountain landscape. He suddenly remembered that this was the season he liked the most. Or rather, it suited him the most. There was much to be done to prepare for winter, but whenever he had a free moment, he would make his way toward the mountaintop. Gazing idly at the sun while breathing deep the crisp autumn air was probably the second favorite of his daily joys. It relaxed him, the cold but comforting wind at dusk, and the way the sunset dyed the peaks of vibrant crimson. Not 2 months had passed since coming down from the mountains, and already it pained him that the memories had begun to fade. Someone once told him that memories fade every day, so the best you one do
The best you want to do. Wow.
is make as many new ones as possible. Best you can do? Maybe?
Yeah. Huh.
The best one can do?
Yeah, maybe that was it.
Recollections grew hazy. A new place to live meant the beginning of a new life. He wasn't sure if he was reluctant to let go of the scenery he'd cherished for so long, or if he'd merely been spoiled by it. Probably both, to be fair. Despite his new home in a city surrounded by tall buildings, he felt guilty for wanting those memories alone to remain clear in his mind. Either way, he had to make the best of a fresh start. What kind of man thinks more about where he came from than where he's going, he contemplated.
そうか。これ
Oh,
夢だ。
I'm unconscious.
Yeah. Dreaming, huh?
He tried to stop himself from indulging in uncharacteristic sentimentality. It wouldn't be a dream if it was easy to understand. The moment he realized he was dreaming, angular shadows began to rise from the autumn clouds. They were concrete buildings, previously unknown and yet familiar to him at the same time. This was how his current life was washing away his memories. Struggle as he might, there was no stopping the degradation of human memory or impressions. It was merely a fact of life. By nature, humans lived in the present over the past. Eventually, even his most cherished memories would be swallowed up the buildings.
By the buildings, maybe?
No.